Hello. Before this video begins, I would like to give you a bit of a warning. This video will be a bit longer than most of my other videos because not only is this a longer and more difficult battle, but also because I will be playing it mostly at half speed, so it is easier to digest what is happening in the battle, what you should be doing yourself if you are playing this battle, and so better footage is provided. And it's not just me constantly rushing and clicking left, right, left, right. I hope you don't mind, and probably in the next videos that will follow, everything will be back to normal. This is one of those few battles that is just longer and harder. Thank you. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Rome Remastered Historical Battle Walkthrough. In today's episode, we are playing the 10th historical battle, the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. We are playing as the Romans, which is represented by the House of Scipii. We are facing off against the Germanic tribes. We have been ambushed in a forest. We are cut off from reinforcements. All hope is lost, but we will have to continue fighting. Roman courage will have to prevail, and the gods will have to show mercy if we are to win this day. Now, before I continue into the battle itself, I would like to make a quick notice for anyone who's going to play the battle themselves. If you play the battle and watch the narration and the description of what's happening, that still cuts down the time you are given to complete the mission, because this mission has about 20 minutes for you to completely get to the fort or kill off the enemy forces. So if you watch the narration and the description, you'll be down to about 17 minutes. And if you just press escape and skip it right away, you will be saved those 3 minutes and you'll start about 20 to 21 minutes. So although at first it may seem, oh, that's just 2-3 minutes, but I can tell you from experience, towards the end of the battle, those 2 or 3 minutes will make a big difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the narration and the description, and then I'm going to cut to a brand new clip when I just skipped to it, so we have all that extra time.
This is the year 9 AD. The place, Germania, beyond the empire's border. This is the army of Quinctilius Varus, sent north by Augustus to pacify the Germans. Guided by a trusted local chieftain, Arminius, the legion is heading back to winter camp. But life on the frontier can be treacherous, brutal, and short. Thanks to Arminius, the Romans are marching into danger. Hidden in the forest, there's an army of savage German warriors, fired up and thirsty for Roman blood. As the danger becomes obvious, Varus gallops to the head of the column. He has to get his men back to the fort before sunset. Once darkness falls, the Germans will be able to kill them at will. This is a chance for Varus to prove that he has the right stuff. That he is a noble Roman, and a noble Roman general at that. If he isn't, he'll be a noble Roman corpse by sunset, and no one will get home. The camp is in sight. One last push by the Romans should see them home, but without enough survivors, this will be a black day for Rome and a massive victory for the barbarians.
Alright, so this is the cut after the cutscene has been played. Well, this is skipped through the cutscene, and as you see, if we went through the cutscene, that time we had 17 minutes and 52 seconds left to finish the battle, and now we have 20 minutes and 39 seconds left, so that little bit of extra time will be given to us. As you may have already also noticed, is that the enemy has not charged into our lines yet, as it has if we played the cutscene fully, and not only are we a bit more ahead, but we've also got the enemy units a bit farther away from us, giving us more time to react. So although the cutscene is nice to watch and entertaining in my opinion, if you are trying to beat this battle and don't care much for the cutscene, skipping it is a big advantage. So let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is, as always, or almost always, is just organize my troops. So in the midst of battle, it's easier for me to locate them and decide which ones I want to send in. Now that I've done that, there isn't a specific strategy you can do for this battle, but I have my way of doing this. So what I like to do is to move my general out of the way and then have my other cavalry unit to charge in and take out the enemy's weakest units that are nearby. So this allows our cavalry to be taken out of danger because they are very important in this battle, and it also allows us to easily flank around the enemy and then hit them in the back once they're engaged with our infantry. And then we're also going to start moving our archers ahead of the main force to avoid enemy contact. Now there's also this a bit of a unfair advantage that you are given, is if you haven't unpaused right away, you can go around the map and you can notice every single place where the remaining of the German army is, Germanic tribes are located. As you see, they're hidden in the forests on the path ahead. So we can't just defeat this army and then march our way happily to the fort. We have to defeat this army and then face off multiple other encounters as we march to the fort. Now I've never made it to the fort itself. I've played this battle multiple times and I've either lost the battle or I've just eliminated the enemy force with barely of my soldiers surviving. I prefer eliminating the enemy force because, hey, you defeated them. You don't have to cry to Varus to give you back his legions. Alright, so we're going to begin now. Enough talking. So I'm going to send the back 3 units all the way up front like this, just so I can better tell where I should send them once the battle's actually begun. So I'm going to have my units go left and right to engage with them, slow them down, to allow our cavalry and other units to maneuver. But we have to be careful because the enemy will send units down here to assist in the ambush, even if we haven't finished with this main army. Now I'd also like to add that you have to watch out for the enemy berserkers. They are extremely strong. So that's why I like prioritizing going after them, because they are just insanely strong. They will crush you, and once they go into berserk mode like that, like those 2 units have, it's over. That unit is not going to last very long. But I'm trying to have my cavalry to chase down the enemy units, to weaken them, and then charge in. But although no matter how much I would love to use my cavalry to just charge in and hit these berserkers in the back to show them who the boss is, we can't do that because these are berserkers. They won't die that easily. We have to be very, very careful, because once they're in berserk mode, a cavalry charge in the back will mean nothing to them, no matter how effective it may be against other units. So now I'm just trying to finish off whatever units still remain from the main force. And I'm trying to keep my archers and cavalry alive, because for me they are the most important units in this battle. Well, the infantry is the most important, but the cavalry play a huge role, that without them it wouldn't be as good of a chance of victory. So now I'm just going to have all of my infantry forces to start finishing off these berserkers, while my cavalry go and chase down these routing units, or any units that are advancing. Now, casualties and the losses of units were foreseen quite early on, because they had berserkers and we were ambushed and we were outnumbered. There wasn't really much we could do about the loss of units. But I do want to preserve as many men as I can. And when I get the chance, I'm going to charge and attack. As you see, so far the battle was already quite bloody. We've lost many men, but we are still holding on strong. These berserkers are a real pain. And as you see, already the second force is coming to advance against us. Well, not the second force, but the second ambush. So what we have to do is already start sending in our units to start putting them into a formation so they can react better to the attack. Now, I'm very happy that not only do we have the majority of our infantry still alive, well, not the majority, a good amount of our infantry still alive, we also have almost all of our cavalry still alive, which is a priority, because with our cavalry alive, we can easily chase down and hunt down routing units, but we can also take care of units before they get to our main force, which allows us to regroup better, reorganize, and prepare for what is to come. But I'm going to put them in a bit of a tighter formation to have them closer together so they can fight together when they're in these weaker numbers, smaller numbers. Unfortunately, we have lost a few men, so not all of our units are going to be as effective as they normally would. And see, you would think, oh, if you hadn't looked ahead like I did earlier, you would have thought, oh good, it's just these guys, and then there's that one unit, and then we can finally just go to the fort, and it'd be a nice, happy day. Unfortunately, they wanted to make sure we get killed. And if you just look up here, you can see there's 712 soldiers still alive from the enemy force. And just by looking at this amount and that one unit, you can tell there's probably something hidden, even if you hadn't looked ahead early on. So what I'm going to do is have my cavalry charge in and hit these enemy units in the back, but only if they're not paying attention. If they do start paying attention, we're going to turn around and avoid it, because we don't want to charge right into their weapons and get ourselves killed. And that was a very successful charge. We routed that unit. So now we're going to pull back and have our general chase him down while having our other cavalry unit to engage. Perfect. So I'm going to have them conserve ammunition, because it is quite important if we are to win. So now I'm just going to have my cavalry chase them down. But remember, we are on a time constraint, so we have to keep advancing. There's no time to stop. If we stop the game, we could lose this battle. Even if we kill as many of them as we can, if we don't get to the fort, or at least kill off the enemy so we can, without us commanding the army, we can get to the fort, then that will be a good day. Now, normally if we had watched the cutscene, we would have been probably at around 12 minutes now instead of 14 minutes. As you see, we can, instead of having to run forward to beat this army and then continue moving forth, we can just walk to regain some of that energy in time that normally would be gone. And because we skipped the cutscene, we had more time to anticipate the enemy attack and prepare and react better, and not have to be skirmished by their archers as we watch the cutscene helplessly. Seeing as they're fresh and just warmed up, we can have them run a bit. But not too much, because we still want to conserve that energy. Now I hate fighting in these forests because it allows the enemy to hide, and it's terrible for moving around, and it's just bad overall. Now what I will do is send my cavalry units up to scout ahead. This triggers the enemy attack, so they run out of the forest, and it's easier for me to locate them. But of course, seeing as they're tired and exhausted, we're going to have them walk. But the tide is turning. We've still got 13 minutes left, and although we are still outnumbered, we've eliminated the majority of the enemy force. And now that our troops are starting to tire a bit, although it's not much, we're going to have them slow down a bit. I said we're going to have them slow down a bit. So now I'm just going to speed up time a little bit and wait for them to get information while our cavalry moves ahead. Now just one of our cavalry units, because if we get ambushed and stuck, I don't want to lose our general, because then our morale will absolutely plummet, and there will be no chances of, well, little chances of recovery. But like I said, we cannot wait, so even though we are trying to draw the enemy attack before it takes place, we're still going to move the entire force. Now what I would like to mention is once you trigger the attack here, the units that were hidden on the left side of the road, they will also charge down here, so even though there's units here, the units all the way down there on the left will also advance. Seeing as we've got 9 minutes left, we're going to speed it up a bit more. And there we go, the enemy attack has been triggered. So, although I would prefer to just wait it out, we're going to march forth right into it. Not only is it because the enemy wants it that way, but because we are in a time constraint. With 9 minutes left, we have no time to waste, and plenty of enemies to deal with. I don't know whether I should continue chasing those archers. I don't think it's worth it, so I'm going to pull off, seeing as my men are tired. And we're being absolutely surrounded, as I anticipated. I said, we better watch out. Send one unit, so just in case we get surrounded, only one gets annihilated, not including our general. But seeing as a few units have stayed behind over there, we're going to keep a good amount of our forces looking in that direction. But now, seeing as the enemy has begun noticing us a bit more, we're going to be careful. Hopefully we can get our cavalry unit back, however tired they may be. Ooh, those dogs are really chasing them. And 8 minutes left. Alright. I think we can hold this. Enable fire at will, and we better get fighting. Although staying in formation is a good plan, we just have to keep pushing forward, and that includes marching right into a cavalry charge. But on the plus side, we are quickly dealing with their forces, which is allowing us to continue the attack much faster and flank the enemy much faster and overall deal with them much faster. But I'm going to have my general unit that stayed back here to constantly charge into the enemy ranks. This is to assist our units, but also to lower their morale, just like that one. And although we've got 7 minutes left, we're really gonna have to put the pedal to the metal now. Seeing how much we've already done, how much damage we've done with only 26% of their soldiers still alive, we're not even going to march into the fort, we're just going to chase them down. We're going to risk it all the way. Who cares if the entire battle could be lost when we could just run them into the fortress? When we've got, I think, enough time to run them in. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to continue fighting them. We're going to destroy their army. Unfortunately, our cavalry is very tired and unable to deal with their cavalry. So now what we're just doing is just doing a bit of last-minute cleanup.
The gods who feel the heart of the enemy
there we go.
Fear. Now he flees.
With both of the enemy generals dead because
let gods be praised. The enemy general is killed.
If you notice,
before
the battle started, there were 2 armies attacking.
The enemy army is in flight. Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield.
Well, what I wanted to say is that since we saw there were 2 armies, taking down both generals meant victory was much closer, because we knew we had to eliminate all of the generals, which meant there was less things to uplift their morale. So let's see how we did. Oh, I pressed continue. Whoops. Well, then we'll just speed up the time. Oh no, we've got 5 minutes. Please don't be the thing to ruin the battle. Infantry, get marching in, just in case. Oh boy. March in. Get in, get in, get in, get in. Where's the red line?
Rome will be amazed at such a victory. The day is ours.
I thought I lost the battle because I pressed continue and we were so low on time. Well, this is truly, we have changed the fate of history. We have done something that has never been done before, and if it has been, then it has been barely ever been done before. We have changed history, and we have turned a massacre against the Romans into a massacre against the attacker. The Germans will learn to never rebel and face the Roman army again. We have inflicted 1,180 casualties. And for them, that's a lot. That's their entire army gone, basically. And for us, although we did lose about 50% of our army, about half of it, over 400, maybe even 500, we did really good. We won a battle, we defeated 2 enemy armies, we killed 2 generals, we changed the path of history, and overall this is just amazing. One of the hardest battles, so easily won. Well, it wasn't easy, but we did it. I hope this video was helpful in beating this historical battle on your own. So remember, what you have to do is when the battle first starts off, I recommend skipping the cutscene or just watching it and then restarting the battle to have all of that extra time, those extra 3 minutes, which, as you see, those 3 minutes were the only thing saving us. And then just charge in your infantry on the left and right side, primarily on the left side, because that's where the berserkers are. You want to deal with that as quickly as possible. Move your cavalry out to avoid getting trapped and tangled in combat, and then quickly use them to take out the weakest units, and then flank around and hit the enemy's strongest units in the back. But don't hit the berserkers, because they will massacre your cavalry, and that charge will do barely anything. And then you have to just push against the clock, just keep on moving. No matter how tired your men are, you just have to keep going. Walk, run, whatever you can, just keep moving forth, awaiting that ambush from any angle, usually from the left side or from the north, and then just fight it off, and if you have time, run into the town, into the fort. Or if you don't have time, or you just want to show these Germans who's boss, like I did, just finish him off. But I recommend not pressing continue when you've won the battle, because that time constraint can really mess up your victory. Well, I hope this was helpful in beating this historical battle on your own. I know this video was longer than usual, but I think it was useful, and especially one of this difficulty, it should be very helpful and inspiring for you viewers to beat this and try this battle on your own. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you watching the next one. Remember to leave your suggestions for what we should do next, what we should go over next, in the comment section below. Do you want to go over barbarian invasion? Do you want to go over Alexander? Do you want to go over a different Total War game, or a different game in general? Please leave that in the comment section so I have an idea of what you want to see next. If not, I will review some of my battles that I've done in the past against AI and against other players, to show you how you could have done better, or how you should react when you're put in such a situation. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.